My name's Tristan Petrash. Now, by the time this episode comes out, I'll actually already be on the road, headed to one of the most iconic cities in all of Canada, Montreal, as part of my girlfriend's hand-dyed yarn business, Fireweed Fibre Co. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. I'll probably also edit in some really pretty pictures, here and here and here. But with all that being said, I want to share with you today a recipe that I only just started making, but it is seriously one of the easiest and simplest chicken recipes I've ever done. I am, of course, talking about Filipino chicken adobo. Chicken adobo is seriously such a simple recipe, requiring a minimal amount of prep. To start, we're gonna need a bunch of garlic. To release the allicin, which is where all that wonderful, pungent, garlicky goodness comes from, use the back of your knife and smash the shit out of it. It's also a good way to release some stress. Then, in a small bowl, combine soy sauce and rice vinegar. These are the two principal components in adobo and where it gets its signature flavor from, as well as its name. Adobo referring to pickling or marinade. Not traditional, but I like adding some calamansi juice, also referred to as Filipino lime. But you can just use a bit of lime juice instead. Fish sauce, again, not traditional, but gives the dish a shot of umami, which is never a bad thing. Brown sugar, and dark soy sauce. This is just for a bit of color. Now, another key component is black pepper, and lots of it. But instead of the usual freshly cracked black pepper, I'm going to use a mortar and pestle and some whole peppercorns, because while I do want some cracked pieces, I still want them relatively whole. The last main component also happens to be my all-time favorite herb, and that's bay leaves. Bay leaves are such an underrated ingredient and add complexity and earthiness to any dish. If you ever have the chance to get your hands on some fresh ones, get all up on that. Keeping them in the freezer will keep them nice and fresh too. Lastly, the smashed garlic. Give everything a good stir and set aside. Typically, you'd find legs or even an entire chicken broken down in adobo, but for me, any kind of braised dish screams thighs. They're near impossible to overcook, are generally the cheapest cut, have the most skin to meat ratio, and because they're dark meat, have a ton of flavor. Now, rinsing chicken off is not necessary, but in order to achieve a really crispy skin, which is what I want, you can either air dry them in the fridge for several hours, dust with flour or a starch, or rinse them in cold water and pat until they're bone dry with some paper towel. Because of the amount of salt in the soy sauce and fish sauce, we're only going to lightly season the skins with kosher salt. Salting is important for adding flavor, obviously, but it also draws out moisture, helping to crisp the skins further. Next, we're going to make some rice. Now, you can, of course, use whatever kind of rice you'd like. You do you. But for me, unless a specific type of rice is needed in a dish, my default is always jasmine. However, regardless of what you use, rinsing it off is the most important part. Rice naturally forms a layer of starch on the outside. Rinsing it allows the grains to become separated and improves their overall texture. Then add to a small pot along with 1.5 times the amount of water and season with kosher salt. Bring to a boil over high heat, cover and simmer on low for 15 minutes. For cooking, I'm using what is easily one of the most versatile pans I have in my kitchen, and that's this wide cast iron braising pan. But any pan or pot that's wide enough to fit all of the chicken and deep enough to braise in will work. You'll also need a lid. While I was editing this episode, I got to this point and thought it kinda looked like a superhero pose. Set over medium-high heat, allowing it to get nice and hot. Then add a good amount of a neutral oil like canola. Place the chicken thighs in, skin side down, and allow them to deeply brown. Because the skin is nice and dry and the thighs have a good amount of fat, they won't burn anytime soon, unless you're using a thin bottom pan. So take your time with this step, it's going to build a lot of flavor. You'll know they're done when they lift easily from the pan and pretty much look like fried chicken. Deglaze the pan with a splash of Shaoxing wine, sake, or if alcohol isn't your thing, just use a bit of water. Scrape up all those tasty brown bits from the bottom of the pan, otherwise known as fond. Then add the sauce along with a bit of water until the chicken is about 3/4 submerged. Bring to a boil over high heat, cover and simmer on medium-low. Since the adobo is done and pretty much just a waiting game at this point, I figured we could make a nice Southeast Asian style salad to go with it. So in a small bowl, combine fish sauce, calamansi juice, lime juice, a bit of sugar, kosher salt, and freshly cracked black pepper. Then, while whisking, slowly add extra virgin olive oil until it emulsifies and becomes slightly thick and glossy. For the salad, I'm slicing some cucumber on an angle or bias, then giving it a quarter turn after each slice. This is referred to as an oblique cut, but it ultimately doesn't matter how you slice them. I'm also thinly slicing some red onion and having some cherry tomatoes. Then to give it a bit more freshness, I'm adding some cilantro. Parsley, mint, or basil will work too, since cilantro isn't for everybody. Set both the salad and dressing to the side. The chicken has been braising for 40 minutes now, and the sauce has reduced by about half. Baste the chicken skins with the sauce, then continue to cook uncovered until the sauce has reduced further and is almost a little thick. Just keep in mind, the more it reduces, the saltier it will get. Then bust out your fanciest plate, pile the fluffy rice on one side, dress the salad and place it on the other, top with a chicken thigh, a spoonful of the adobo sauce, and finish with some thinly sliced green onion. And that's it. Filipino chicken adobo. They're tender, savory, juicy, a little sweet, and a little sour. Because of the amount of vinegar and salt in the dish, it's essentially preserved and will last for at least a week in the fridge. So feel free to make a large batch and enjoy it all week long for a quick and easy dinner when time is not your friend. If you like my channel and are interested in supporting it while getting some cool perks, like access to my private Discord server where I post behind the scenes and upcoming episodes, bonus content, and shoutouts in episodes, you can check out my Ko-fi page. I'll leave a link for that in the description. And hey, if you've made it this far, consider liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing. They're the best ways to help the channel grow and reach a wider audience. Thanks for watching, and stay awesome. Now, by the time this episode comes out, I'll actually already be on the road, headed to one of the most iconic Montreal... Nope, that's not the one. Now, by the time this comes... No. Oh, I can't even say it now. Now, by the time this episode comes out, I'll actually already... Now, by the time this episode comes out, I'll actually already be on the road, headed to one of the most iconic... Fuck, I still can't do it. I quit. Like, seriously, why am I having such a hard time with this?